Greetings! If you require a perfect prediction of conventional print production that uses AM screening, halftone proofs created with Fiery XF using the OneBit option is your solution. Primarily targeted at printing and pre-press houses, the OneBit option enables the creation of color-accurate contract proofs that are a perfect match between the proof and print product using the original OneBit files. The OneBit option follows the RIP once output many concept, meaning that it utilizes the screen data that the production RIP has calculated for output on the film setter or plate setter. This will ensure that the proof has the same screen structure as the production run, including screen dot shape, angle, ruling, and dot size. The proof is identical to the final exposure generated, giving you an accurate representation of the final print. This ensures that issues, including moirés, artifacts, trapping errors, color deviations, and content errors can be identified and corrected prior to the press run. The OneBit option allows you to provide your customers with an assurance that the job exactly matches their approved proof, resulting in improved customer satisfaction. Subsequent discussions about quality and discounts will become a thing of the past. At the same time, you can prevent pre-press and press room production errors and make time and material savings along the entire production line. This will result in lower material costs and more efficient use of production capacity and ensure a fast return on investment. The OneBit feature supports the creation of proofs for print jobs that are produced in offset, flexo, or silkscreen printing and supports the following file formats: TIFF D4, TIFF D3, PACBit, LZW compressed TIFF, uncompressed TIFF, PressDeck, Huffman, PCX, LEN, Harlequin page buffer, Founder, and DC dot format. Depending upon your proofing printer technology, RIP, and printer resolution, it also supports moiré prediction for screen rulings up to 200 LPI. After adding a license for the OneBit option to your Fiery server and having Fiery Command Workstation package 7.1.0.423 or later installed, you are ready to configure one or more workflows to properly process and print your OneBit files. There are two main tasks that need to be accomplished to prepare your Fiery system to accurately print your OneBit files. You need to configure your system to recognize how many individual OneBit files need to be combined for each job, and which color should be associated with each file. In Fiery Command Workstation, launch Server Manager. Either select or create a new workflow that you wish to configure to process your OneBit files. I have created a new workflow named .proofs. On the job detection pane on the file panel, I have already configured a hot folder. With the OneBit option licensed, a OneBit pane will now be available on the file panel. The first three options available on this pane, when properly configured, will ensure that each job processed will include all the necessary OneBit files. Let's assume that a new job is being added to the designated hot folder and that the job consists of 5 individual files, one each for cyan, magenta, yellow, black, and Pantone 347C. When OneBit files begin to appear in the folder, the system will analyze the first file and determine what color is associated with the file. It will also begin monitoring the size of the file, using the value entered in the waiting time for job completion box. The default value is 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds, if the size of this first file has increased, the clock will start again. If the file size has not increased, your system will search the folder for another OneBit file for the job, based on the file name. If it finds one, the clock will start on that file. This process will continue until 30 seconds passes with no increase in the size of the file being monitored and no new file being detected. At this point, the system will assume that all the files needed to print the job are present in the folder, will combine them, process, and print the job. If you manually add all the files for a job into the hot folder or manually import them into your Fiery system, this default value should be appropriate. However, if you have the system that generates the OneBit files deposit these files directly into the hot folder, the 30-second value may not be high enough. If there is a pause between two of the OneBit files, your system can assume that the job is complete and use the files that are in the hot folder to print the job. If your job consists of 4 OneBit files and there is a pause longer than 30 seconds between plates 2 and 3, your system could assume that instead of a single 4-color job, you might print 2 2-color jobs. You will need to test to determine the optimal waiting time value for your workflows. Another option would be to enable the number of OneBit files in a job option. Enable the checkbox and enter a value in the field, and your system will wait until it detects the specified number of files, combine them, and print the job no matter how long it needs to wait. Note that you will only be able to process jobs containing the specified number on OneBit files using this workflow. If the system generating your OneBit files creates a subdirectory folder in your hot folder to hold the files, enable the subdirectory for each job option. Your next task is to ensure that your system correctly identifies the color that should be used for each OneBit file in your jobs. You do this by selecting an available option or configuring a custom filter in the Job Recognition preset box. 3 wildcards are available for use in creating your filters. %J represents the job name, %C represents the color to be associated with the individual file, and %F is used to represent areas in the file name to ignore. In addition, the special characters hyphen, underscore, and parentheses are used as separators when constructing your filters. Finally, your system will automatically recognize certain color designations. As an example, for cyan, your system will recognize in uppercase C, lowercase c, the word cyan in all lowercase, cyan in all uppercase, or cyan with the initial letter in uppercase. Displayed here are the names for 5 OneBit files that make up a single job. The set of numbers before the first underscore is the job number. Next is the plate color, then the plate designation that the image setter or plate setter automatically assigns to individual plates, and finally, the .tif extension. Your system, by default, analyzes file names from right to left. You would need to use %J to indicate the job number, %C for the plate color, and %F for the plate number, which your system should ignore in this example. The proper filter needed for jobs using this configuration is shown here, with underscores used as separators between the wildcards. Here is another example. The proper filter for this example is shown here, with parentheses used as separators between the wildcards. If your job files are named as shown in this example, your system would be unable to resolve the file names because they do not contain separators. You would need to either rename them or reconfigure how your image setter or plate setter generates names for your OneBit files. Your final task is to select the desired proofing method to be used when processing and printing your jobs. Options available are imposition proof, contract proof, and contract proof with sharp dots. Select imposition proof, and you will quickly generate a proof that is not color accurate but can be used to check the accuracy of the document content. Select contract proof to generate what you can consider to be a binding color contract between you and your customer. This is usually the final proof created before going to the press. Select contract proof with sharp dots to generate a quick, color-accurate screen proof. The quality is slightly better than the quality of a standard contract proof. Once you have configured the options on the OneBit pane, you will be ready to accept OneBit jobs. You can either use a hot folder or manually import files into your system. When importing files into your Fiery system, you will now be able to use a filter to display only OneBit files. Once imported, the multiple OneBit files will appear as a single job. You can now print color-accurate contract proofs that are a perfect match between the proof and print product. Thank you for your time.